These are the 4 things every local business must do in order to actually get more sales from online digital marketing efforts. My name's Amanda Reed and I'm the owner of Reed Mobile Marketing. At Reed Mobile Marketing, we specialize in helping local businesses meet people where they are, which is on their phones. And we're going to talk a lot about that today, but we want you to understand that our whole goal is to help you move people from the online environment offline, walking through your doors. Real quick, I want to let you know what we mean when we talk about local businesses. I don't necessarily mean local to me here in Missoula, Montana, but local to their community, which means to us, someone has to either walk in or pick up the phone to actually do business with them. That's what we define local businesses as, and this is for you if you have a local business. One of our core values at Reed Mobile Marketing is helping small businesses beat big brands. And today we feel like that is more essential than ever. So I want to help you as a local business understand how you can use the online space, digital marketing, social media, and all those things to get more people to walk through your doors. And so that's what we're talking about today, how to use online efforts to get people offline and through your doors. There's 4 different things that you are a must in 2025, but I think the biggest thing that we need to understand is we no longer can rely on traditional marketing methods to get people to come in. Radio, TV, newspapers, billboards used to be the way that we would get people to walk in our doors or call us. And I'm not saying anything negative about any of those medias. It's just understanding that the media that we're using in order to get people's attention has changed. The media that they're turning to figure out what they should do or who they should do business with has changed. And that's why this is more important than ever. Many businesses cannot survive only on hoping people walk into their business, on people that walk by and thinking that is going to be enough. So we need to step into what we can do in the online world to get people through our doors. As I said, there's 4 very key elements that we're going to cover today. The first is actually getting found. What do you do to get found online? If nobody ever finds you, you can never start that relationship with them. You can never build the relationship, and you can't ask them to walk through your doors. So there's 3 important elements to getting found online. The first is actually simply having a website. Now, some people may tell you this isn't necessary, and I absolutely disagree. The reality is this is 2025. You must have a website if you want people to take your business seriously. We're going to talk about some different elements of the website in just a moment, but understand you do have to have a website. You have to have a place where people can go and check you out. So having a website is not negotiable. You must have a website. The other 2 parts you must have to get found would be a presence on Google and a presence on social media. We're going to take a look at both of those from both a free perspective as well as a paid perspective. When we start talking about Google, the first thing is you have to have a fully optimized Google business profile. Not only this is absolutely free for you, but you have to go get a Google business profile. You have to claim it, and then you need to optimize it. You need your phone number in there. You need your website in there. You need a way for people to contact you. You need your hours. You need a way for people to get directions. We need to make sure that people can actually reach us through our Google business profile. Additionally, there are things that you can do from your website perspective to make it to where you show up higher on Google or appear higher up in searches. And this is called search engine optimization. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details of that, but I want you to understand that there are things that we can do on our website that make us appear higher in Google. You can do it yourself, and that would make it a free thing to get found on Google, or obviously if you're paying a company to do it, then it wouldn't be free. You would have to pay for that. As you're taking a look at that, you need to make sure that you're optimizing or actually putting the words in your website that people would search on social media to find you. That's really what we're talking about in optimizing. And then you need to make sure that you're keeping your Google business profile up to date. Now, if you're closed for certain holidays, obviously you would want to update that and make those changes, but also making sure that you're posting to your profile, showing Google that you are a relevant business that keeps things up to date. Let's take a look at the next thing, which is social media, which is another free way that you can actually get people into your business. It is essential that you have at the very least, a Facebook and Instagram business page. Understand that these need to be actual business pages on Facebook and Instagram. There's a couple of different reasons for that, but first is Google actually refers back to those. Those show Google that you are a relevant business. You're an active business. You are still actually a part of your community and making a presence in your community. At the very least, we need those two platforms, Facebook and Instagram. Obviously, they've merged and they are Meta, but you need a Facebook business page and an Instagram business page. You also need to make sure that you are posting regularly on those. This is for a couple different reasons. People generally go to a Facebook page or Instagram page to check out a business. If you haven't posted in months or sometimes even years, then people may not know that you're still in business. They may think that you're not in business or you're not relevant. So regardless of what type of business you have, you need to be creating posts and posting regularly on both Facebook and Instagram. Now, they do make it rather easy for you, where we can schedule those out or actually have one go to the other. I'm not gonna get into the details of how to do that, but just understand that those are the two places that at a minimum you need to be posting on and having the pages current and active. As I said, not only are consumers taking a look at that, but Google is as well. So this is gonna help you appear higher in Google. So that's how we take a look at the free ways we can use Google and social media, but what about paid? What about running ads? Now, the biggest difference between organic or free and paid is simply that we are paying the platforms to put our information in front of the people that we're telling it to put it in front of. This is what we refer to as our target audience, right? Who are the people that we want to see our ads? One of the biggest questions we get asked is, should we be running Google ads or social media, Facebook ads or Instagram ads? And the answer really depends on the type of business you have. What you have to understand is the difference between the two and the intent that the consumer has when they're taking a look at it. If you have a very search-based business, so the intention when I search for your business is to buy something immediately. So if I'm looking for a roofer, a plumber, a landscaper, anything that I would want to get an answer immediately, then you're gonna lean more towards Google. Those are the things that if I am just looking to make a phone call and actually buy a service or possibly a product, but mostly a service. That is where we should be focusing on Google. Now, if you have a business that is less search intent and more disruptive or often just kind of top of mind as we have used in marketing, then Instagram and Facebook or social media ads are going to be better for you. Think of restaurants, bars, stores, retail. These are all sorts of different things that as I see it, not only can you put different incentives in front of me to incentivize me to come in, but as I see it more often, it's gonna be more of a purchase that is spontaneous. I may see your restaurant and be like, oh, that looks really good. Let's go there to eat today. So that's the biggest difference, is what is the intent of the buyer? Am I a search intent buyer where I'm going to buy the service immediately, or is it more spontaneous intent where next time I go out to eat, next time I go shopping, that is going to be the place to go. So that is how you decide which platforms you should be running ads on. And oftentimes the answer could be a combination of both. You may be wanting to be on Google and Facebook and Instagram, but in reality, if you're gonna choose just one, you need to be choosing based on the type of buyer. What is their intent when they are looking? That is how we get found. You have to have a website, you have to have a Google presence, and you have to have a social media presence. What happens next? The next big thing is mobile. Our mobile phones are by far probably the most precious thing to us that we have on us at all times. We use our phones for everything. If you aren't optimizing to get found on someone's phones, you are missing out and you are getting left behind. It used to be a time where we said you need to make your websites or anything you're putting out mobile friendly or mobile optimized. Now we believe it has to be mobile first. Everything you are designing or putting out or creating should be with the intention or the assumption that people are going to see it on their phones. This means it has to be easier to read. No big blocks of text. It means it has to load quickly. We need to have buttons that we can easily touch, and the text has to be readable without having to optimize it or like pinch and scroll and all those sorts of things. Those are some simple things that we can do to make it more mobile first. But understanding one of our things at Read Mobile Marketing is we say we help businesses meet people where they are. And the reason we say that is because people are on their phones more than anything else. And understand at least 65% of your website traffic is coming from a mobile device. If you aren't optimizing for mobile, if you aren't making sure that mobile's first, you're losing out on at least 65% of the people that may find you online. And additionally, 95% of people that have a phone that has the capability of searching the internet use it to search the internet. So I can't stress enough how important it is to take into account mobile devices and making sure that everything is mobile first. But beyond that, we have to take that a step further and understand communication. How do we communicate with people? Because it's not just enough for them to find us online. We want to be able to communicate with them on an ongoing basis. And for us at Read Mobile Marketing, we believe heavily in SMS or text message marketing. Now, before you say you hate text message marketing or is it just spam or any of those things, understand that there is a legal way to get opt-ins, which is where people give you permission to send them text messages. When I talk about text message marketing or SMS marketing, I am only talking about the legal way of doing it, not buying a list, not just actually downloading phone numbers. We're talking about legally getting permission to send text messages. And the reality is 80% of consumers say that they want to hear from brands via text message. So you are missing out on 80% of people if you aren't using text messages. But it is also the fastest way that you can communicate with your audience. And also think about it like this. At Read Mobile Marketing, we talk a lot about building a relationship with your customers or potential customers. Think about how you would communicate with any other relationship in your life. You're probably not sending your wife or someone you're dating an email, right? You're probably sending them a text message. So we need to start communicating with people like we want to build a relationship with them and like they are people. So that's why text message marketing is so essential. It also gives you real-time ability to communicate. In reality, 95% of text messages are opened and read within 3 minutes. That means if it's slow for you at 11:30 on a Tuesday and you want to send a text saying, hey, we're having a lunch special today from 12 to 1, you can do that and it will actually work because people are going to read it. You're almost guaranteed that your message will get opened and read within 3 minutes. Now, I'm not against email lists and building email lists. I actually think you should do both. But when you compare a 98% open rate on text message marketing to a maybe 20% open rate on email marketing, you start to understand why it is so important to have a text message marketing list and why this is so important on having it be part of your mobile strategy. So understand getting found and understand how important it is to be mobile first, understanding that our phones are our lifeline. So you need to be communicating with people and making sure that when they find you, it looks good on a mobile phone. The next key thing is incentives. People find you and it's mobile optimized. Fantastic. How are we going to get them to walk through your doors? Remember, that's the whole point of this. They're going to find us online and walk through our doors. It's online to offline transactions. So how are we going to get them to walk through our doors? This is something that we are heavy into called incentive marketing. How do we incentivize you to take the action that we want you to take? One of the biggest ways that we can do this from a very basic perspective would be contests giveaways, and coupons. This is what we call the give us a shot part of incentive marketing. This is where we're trying to hope that someone will give us a shot, and we're giving them a reason to. I often say, you don't walk into a bar, see somebody you find attractive and say, hey, will you marry me? Instead, you say, hey, can I buy you a drink? This is the exact same thing. We're giving them an incentive. If I say, yes, you can buy me a drink, really what you're buying is 3 to 5 minutes of my time, maybe 10, where we get to know one another. An incentive is the exact same thing in your business. We're asking them to give you a shot to see if they like it, so that then they can come back. Incentives are great to get people to walk in and get people interacting with your company. But I want you to remember the mobile aspect of it. This is one of the key things that we really like about text message marketing is we can actually deliver those coupons or whatever those incentives are via text message. So you don't have to deal with someone saying, yeah, I had a coupon, but I lost it. Right? This is where it's significantly better than like mailing coupons or other things. And also, you can then send a reminder if someone hasn't used a coupon that you've sent them. So we're having that back and forth communication, but being able to get someone to walk in the door is really important. The other part of incentives is creating a loyalty program where we reward people for visiting us or coming into our location and doing business with us over and over and over again. It's been said before that 80% of our business comes from 20% of our customers. So what are you doing to reward that top 20% to get them to come back more frequently? It is way easier to get someone to come back who already loves you if you reward them for it than to try to get someone new to walk in. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't try to get new customers to come in, but oftentimes we forget about rewarding and incentivizing our best customers, our most loyal fans. So make sure that you have a loyalty program in place. This often looks like a punch card or something free if you have so many visits. And again, this can all be done via text message as well, which is a great way to use mobile text message marketing to incentivize them to come back. And we can then track it to where if they haven't been there in a while, say it's been 2 weeks or 4 weeks, we can send them a text, send them a special offer saying, hey, we miss you, come back and see us. So understand those incentives start with, I've never met you before and I want you to try us, and so we're going to give you incentives to walk in the door, to, hey, we're going to reward you for coming back over and over and over again, and then finally, like if we miss you, if we haven't seen you, we can reward you for that as well. So make sure that you're focusing on incentives. What are you doing to incentivize people to give you a chance as well as keep them coming back? We want to make sure that they're coming to you more and more frequently. So you're able to get found, you've got the mobile dialed in, you're incentivizing people to give you a try and thanking them when they do. What is the last step? It's simply reviews. You need to make sure that you are getting more Google reviews than anyone else. Now, can you get reviews on other platforms? Absolutely. But the most impactful reviews are Google reviews for a couple reasons. The first being Google actually looks at your reviews to see how they are going to rank you and where you're going to appear on Google. So if you have more reviews and you have positive reviews, then you can rank higher just by having more positive 4 and 5 star reviews. Also, 72% of people say they look at reviews prior to making any purchase. So it's not only Google says we think these are important, people are looking at reviews before they decide if they're going to do business with you or not, before they decide if they're going to walk in, before they decide if they're going to call you. And one thing that's very interesting is 75% of people trust a Google review as much as a review from a friend or family member. So understand that reviews online are just as important as word of mouth reviews. I mean, think about it. If you go onto Amazon and you're trying to buy a product and you're not sure which one to buy, what's the first thing you do? You look at the reviews. Well, people are doing that in all aspects of their life. So you need to make sure you're getting reviews. So how do you get reviews? First, if you want 5-star reviews, you have to have 5-star service or product. You have to actually give a good service or product. I'll give you a great example of this. There was a coffee shop that used to hold mastermind that I meet weekly at. Before that mastermind, I would be on the phone each week before that mastermind, and I basically would kind of be standing outside, and right when it was time for the mastermind, I would walk inside, grab my coffee. I would walk inside, and they knew me, so they had my coffee ready, and all I had to do was pay them and get to my meeting. That is 5-star service. They were giving me excellent service. So make sure you are giving excellent service. That's step number 1 in getting reviews. You have to have good service if you want good reviews. Second, you have to actually ask for reviews. Oftentimes we just expect that if people are happy, they're gonna give us a review. And while it would be great if that's the way it happened, it just simply doesn't. So you have to make sure you're going out and actually asking people to give you a review. And the third, you have to make it easy for them. Asking is not enough, unfortunately, because people get busy and they forget, and they ultimately don't end up leaving you a review no matter how well-intentioned they were. One thing you can do is make it easy. We do this through text message marketing. We'll send everybody who's been in, or a certain select population of people that have been in, a request where all they have to do is click on the link and they can automatically leave us a review on our Google business profile. One way that is really cool if you're worried about making sure you get 4- and 5-star reviews is you can actually couple that with a loyalty program. If you only send a review request after someone has been to your establishment, say 3 times, you're highly likely to get a 4- or 5-star review because they have been there. They've shown that they like your product or service. They've shown that they have come back enough and they like it enough to give you a positive review. I want to be very clear on this, that Google is very strict about the fact that we cannot gate reviews. So you can't send someone a message and only ask them to give you a review if you think it's going to be positive. That is no longer a thing that you're allowed to do on Google, and Google can actually shut down your entire Google business profile and everything associated with it. So I highly recommend following the rules and doing it correctly, but there's lots of different ways that you can do it to make sure you're getting those reviews. And what happens if you get a bad review? It's bound to happen sometimes, deserved or not. Make sure you go in and respond and then bury it with good reviews. And those are the 4 things you need to do as a local business to get more money, more sales, and increase your presence, and how we can take our online efforts and get people offline to walk through our doors. My name is Amanda with Reed Muller Marketing, and I'll see you next time.